Today's episode of TNC Movie Nights is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way to monetize your podcast. They help by giving podcasters just like us a flat rate for ad space, so you always know what you're going to get when you have an ad presented by Podgo. You can apply today and be immediately connected to advertisers that will fit your audience. Just go to podgo.co, that's Podgo.co, and when you go there, there's a little box that says, "How did you hear about Podgo?" Make sure you let them know the movie night sent you.
This is TNC Movie Nights, and we're back again with our significant others. Alex is with Sahara, of course, and Madison's, Hi, Madison.
Hey.
Hi, Madison. Hi, Sahara. Hi, Brandon.
Hey. How's it going, Alex? How you doing?
Just watched Palm Springs again. How about you?
I'm doing well. I got off work pretty early today, ran some errands, sat down at an establishment to eat tonight, so that was pretty cool. It's been a while.
Man, living on the edge.
I know.
Look at that hair. You think a man like that would play it safe?
Oh no, not a chance.
Brandon's just ready to die at any moment.
Oh yeah, always. I don't know if I'm always so excited for things or just the depression's finally winning. But let's talk about things that don't make us depressed. Palm Springs. This movie is so enjoyable. Madison and I just watched it the other day, and it's both in our top rom-coms. And all around, it's just such a fun movie. But to go ahead and start, Alex, what did you and Sahara think of the film? If you want to go ahead and kick it away.
You want to start? You want me to start?
You go, bud.
Okay. We love it. And we just, literally 20 minutes ago, just got done watching it again, just to confirm how much we love it. And oh my god, is this movie so well done. And I think, the biggest thing for me, and we talk about this a lot, and we've talked about this a lot on other shows, is this movie does a great job of doing that whole, show, don't tell thing.
Yes.
Because there are a couple of moments where they're talking about things, but it all makes sense because, oh yeah, I've been here for forever, you just got here. We know that because as the viewer we saw that. And I think they do a really good job right off the bat with the very first wedding scene, and he's kind of strolling through the dance floor, and he knows everything that's going to happen, and he knows exactly what to do and where to be and when. And so you immediately know, oh, something's happened where he knows all of this. He's been here before. Something's going on, and this is a lot of information. So it's probably he either knows everything or he's been here for that long, and it's like a Groundhog Day sort of thing. And then, oh my god, look at what it is. That's what it was. And they didn't have to say a word of it. They didn't have to do that until after they showed us, but in a way that's describing it to a character, so it's not describing it to the audience. And they do that throughout this whole movie, and I think it's fantastic.
It's definitely
true, though.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I was just going to mention, this is one of those movies, watching it a second time, it's nice because there's some things you could have missed. It's one of those movies, just like you said, they give you enough, but you might go back and rewatch and be like, oh my goodness, that's what that was. And so it's cool seeing that. But Sahara, as you were saying?
No, yeah, it's totally true, though, because, it's only an hour and a half, and, no minutes wasted. And I was thinking the same thing because we watched it, literally just for the second time. And then, there's so much stuff that you realize was put there for a reason. There's not a moment that doesn't have something cool, and you're like, oh, of course, that happened, because of this, and that happened because of this. And it's just so cool. And I also love movies that are, have a crazy plot, but they're done, realistically. They're okay, so there's this cave, and we live the day forever. And, you just accept it, but then, everything they do is realistic. She gets out of it not, through magic, but literally she just spends years becoming, a quantum physics researcher. And, I think that's the coolest thing. And, I also love how every character is, flawed but likable. Because, there's no character that you're oh, that person just sucks, or, oh, they're too perfect. They all kind of suck in their own way, which, I don't know, that's we do. And it's just really cool. I think it's done well, and the colors and, the cinematography is beautiful. Pretty. I love it.
They had that scene in there with Roy, too, because the entire movie is, kind of dependent on you hating Roy as a character because, he's out to get Niles, but then there's that just so heartwarming of a scene. Like you can't help but love him after that.
Totally. And he was such like how many movies make you love the sadistic dude that's trying to like murder someone over and over again? But you're like,
Exactly.
oh look, his family.
Because yeah, like he's just a guy. Like he's living his own life too. He's not there just to further the story of like Niles or anyone specifically. He's his own whole ass person with a whole story, a whole past, a whole present, a whole future. And so you get to see what he's going through, his side of this, his version of this time loop, because it's going to be different for everybody. And he's not there just to further someone else's plot. He's his own person. It's just great. It's really just great.
It's I forgot how good it was until I watched it a second time. I was like, oh, this movie is fun, but also just like really, really good. So thanks guys. I was excited. I was like, yes.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna watch it more now.
Yeah, no problem. And this something else with the movie as well that I always kind of forget is how much I love J.K. Simmons. I always think like he's the best J. Jonah Jameson I've ever gotten to see, but I love getting to see more movies with him as well. And back to it, how Sahara put it, making you love the character that's trying to kill the main person. It's like it was done so well that at the end of it, you're like, he just hates that he never gets to move on with his family. And then you get it. It's like, I understand why he's doing this. And then it comes down to he finally felt the pain that he was giving Niles throughout the whole film. And then he stopped. So it was great. It's definitely probably the best scene in the entire movie, as I believe Madison said, that it was so heartwarming. And honestly, some great points so far.
Plus, I love the post-credit scene, and you see like his face light up with joy when he's like, "I got the message from your girlfriend last night," and then like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. And I don't want to do too much of a deep dive.
This is only a movie review.
Right.
For it.
Very true. But when he sees that like the plan worked and just there's nothing coming back to him, but that's such a relief to have something different and to know that it worked. And he's like, oh my God, this, and you feel excited for him. And yeah, like he's any other movie, he would just be the sadistic ass who's trying to kill the good guy. But here you're like, he gets to go home too. I love it. And it's just like, yeah.
And that scene's so cool too, because you get to see Niles like before, and like you can kind of see what kind of person he was, because he's just like in a suit. Like you've never seen him in a suit, and he just seems so like normal. And it's fun to like realize like, oh my God, like that's not who he is as a person. That's like who he became from like being alone in this crazy thing for like, I mean, like years and years and years and years, right? Like I don't know how long it is, but it seems like it's like a really long time. So that that was cool to kind of see that little part of him in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much I really believe this theory, but there are some people who theorize about that after credits scene. Some people think that him ordering like, oh, more champagne or whatever, is him trying to get Niles drunk so he can do the same thing to him that he did to Roy.
It'd be devastating.
That is such a killer evil twist.
But that would, I mean, it's fun though.
I don't know how much I really want to. I want to believe that he took it as like, oh, I have a way home, but
right. I feel like I would love that theory if they didn't have that scene at his house. Like if he was just the guy trying to kill him the whole time, and then he kind of goes away, and then he gets excited because he's gonna screw with him. Like they could totally do that and then just make that a deleted scene. But the fact that they add that, like, and then this at the end, I gotta hope it's a happy ending. They deserve it, man.
I mean, happy of ending where her and her sisters were. I mean, like, there's a lot of yikes going on.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I feel like with this movie, even though it's you know the big twist, so to speak, is the fact that they're in a time loop, you know, but there's so many smaller twists inside of that like it really just keeps you on your toes the whole time.
Totally. The time loop becomes almost backstory, which is crazy that a movie about a time loop somehow that's not the most important part of it at all.
Exactly.
What a killer compliment to the character development team there, though. For them to have us focus so heavily on and get so invested in these characters that the fact that there's like a cave that gets unlocked by an earthquake and establishes a time loop just kind of becomes background noise.
You're
Like,
like,
oh yeah, that's here too. But can we get back? Like, where did she go though?
Exactly.
What's going on?
Yeah. I also really, really love the kind of overall tone of this movie because, like, not to get too like philosophical, but when you're talking about like just the world that exists, I love the approach of just like cold and bitter but beautiful indifference, because like the whole idea of like the universe isn't out to get you, it's not out to help you, it's not there to do anything, it's just there. And sometimes stuff sucks and sometimes it doesn't, but they can do that at the same time. Like you can have a really awful situation with like really really rad stuff in it, or you can have like really great things but they don't have to be completely perfect. And I really love when movies like have that sort of real sense in there where you don't have a feeling like everything's going to work out because it has to, because no it doesn't. But also like not everything's going to go wrong because it just won't, because that's not logical. Like there's nothing there to help or hurt, it's just there. And then whatever you want to make of it, or however you need to deal with that, that's just what it is. And you can sit there and be like, yeah, this is awful and this is a horrible thing, but like also I'm looking at dinosaurs in the desert and that's kind of cool. Or like, you know what, this was cool and now it kind of sucks. And I just love how it's like the whole universal concept doesn't change anything because it's just kind of indifferent. I really like that.
So I do have two things to mention real quick. One of them is to go off the dinosaurs you just brought up. These are both things said by Andy Sierra, however you pronounce it. He's the writer of the movie. So here's a quote from him about the dinosaurs. I could say that you have two characters who don't believe they are capable of love, and in that moment maybe they fall in love. Dinosaurs don't exist, but in the moment they exist. It's two things that are impossible, Sierra told Decider, or I can also just say that I love Jurassic Park. So for what he was trying to say is these two people who can't fall in love, maybe in that moment they did because, you know, they both saw the dinosaurs and that was kind of a pairing of the two. And then something else he mentioned. I guess before I say it, I'll ask you guys if you want to know it, but do you want to know how long he was stuck in that time loop for?
Oh, for sure. I want to know.
Yeah.
Wait, any guesses? What do you think?
Guesses? Yeah.
Like 100 years or something crazy. It feels like he was there forever.
Okay.
I'm going
100
to
years.
guess like 5 years. I'm going to
Okay.
go lower.
I'm going to go kind of between those, not really a middle, but I'm going to say 20.
Okay. If you would have said the number, Alex, I would have been done with this show.
Another 94% right there.
It would have been the 94%, but probably worse. 40 years.
Wow.
I said 50, but I was like,
That makes sense though, because you think about like how long you would have to be there to know everything that happens in the bar and the wedding and the everywhere.
Yeah.
And then for her to like just become an expert in like quantum physics. Like, that doesn't happen in a month. That takes years and years of her spending every day going to the cafe and then researching, and then him doing everything. It's obviously similar to like Groundhog Day, but the fact that you would take that much time to do that makes sense. That feels like a right number. Like, yeah, I believe that could happen in 40 years if you did the exact same thing with all of the people who are doing the exact same thing every single day.
Yeah, that was
wait,
the
when they're...
biggest,
Oh, no, you go. Mhm.
the biggest complaint I saw people, saying about the movie was people, because obviously the timeline is very unclear. So people were like, "Oh, she just learned quantum physics in like a week." I'm like, no one said it was a week.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's the lot of people
yeah.
thought.
She was probably in there for like 5 to 6 years every single day in that
She
cafe
got a full
because you
college
just
degree
can.
in that time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she even mentioned that he mentions when she walks in the room, like when she's at the end of the bed. I think I could have sworn he either said you've been gone for a year or you've been gone 4 years. So people
He
are
said-
dumb. I do agree that was another one of the complaints I've seen going through some of like reviews and bad things about the movie. But yeah, Sahara, I know you were going to mention something before we got into this.
Okay, so like the end of the movie, right? Like J.K. Simmons sees Niles. I forgot. Roy. Roy sees Niles.
Yeah.
But like Niles doesn't know who he is and like is himself. So like, does that mean when they broke out of the time loop, they don't remember any of their time in the time loop? Or like, did they end up the day after the time loop? But that doesn't make sense either. Do you know what I mean? Like, do they remember what happened, or are they just like destined to like never be together?
I think for them, because we see them
Like,
the next day.
Turn it like, so everything before they went in the time loop that day is like reality, and then like when they leave the time loop, they remember everything. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think that's J.K. Simmons still being stuck in the time loop, but now he's the only one. So like they got out and we see them sitting in the pool, and then I guess it's November 10th and they have that like back and forth of like when the family comes back. So like
Yeah, with the family.
they still remember the stuff the next day, but they're like
Past people that are in the time
yeah,
loop.
like
aren't
their
they?
yesterday is still in J.K. Simmons' time loop because he hasn't gotten to tomorrow yet. So everything resets, and since they're not like they got to move on, but they wouldn't just disappear. So I think they like
Reset.
the version of them that's still in J.K. Simmons' time loop is now resetting with everyone else because now he's
Now
the
he's
only
the
one that went
only
through the
one.
cave on November 9th.
So like when he gets out, what selves of them will have actually existed in that day?
I think that it would
The
just
original
be,
selves?
I think it would just be the two that are sitting in that pool at the end because he finally would break out. Because
But I mean, like,
for them-
what is their
Like,
what is
what
the
version
actual
of
past?
November 9th would they?
Yeah, what version of November 9th them exists?
it's a really good question.
Like, is it the one where he's, in a tropical shirt and shorts at the wedding, or is it?
Yeah, or is like
tuxedo
he in a suit? Like I don't know. I got way too into that, but I always wondered like how the rules work.
We'll just have to hope for Palm Springs too.
I just want them to be together.
I think it's one of those things
They're
that you can
weird.
maybe, you might be able to take it as a kind of like Inception. When you're like in a dream, time moves slower. So maybe they're 40 years in the time loop or however long in the time loop. Maybe when they get out, it was just like them getting out is them just being in normal time now. And that normal time is like actually the real time for everyone else, but they were just stuck for 40 years or whatever, and that didn't actually change time at all. If that
I
makes
love
it all
her.
sense. Yeah.
All like relativity sort of thing.
Well,
Like
basically, the point that I want is I want her to come out of there and be a freaking quantum physics researcher and like be the #1 quantum physicist, and everyone would be like, "Dude, we saw you yesterday, and you were just like some drunk, sad woman. Like, how are you winning the
How
Nobel
do you
Prize
know?
in quantum physics now?"
she's just like the leading time loop theorist in the
Without
industry.
ever having
time
to
machine.
gone to college for quantum physics,
Yeah.
he just knows it all.
What happens on the cave? Because if the earthquake is the thing that opened the cave, could they go back on November 10th and then be stuck in November 10th? Or did they? Because they didn't like destroy it. Because Roy is still there and he can do that. But can he only do that because it's November 9th? Like, if they go back November 10th, would it just be just a pile of rubble?
There's probably other people stuck
guessing,
in
yeah.
time loops, maybe then. If that cave exists, like how many people are stuck in time loops? Don't go to Palm Springs is the point. Also, we live right outside Irvine, so that's really funny. They're like, you gotta find your Irvine. We're like, we were there yesterday at Walmart. Like,
That's where we go see our
Like, we've
movies.
been there.
Well, close.
okay, so I got on a little bit of a tangent, but
No,
I
that's
always
great.
wondered that.
Great.
If you
Now
guys
people
were stuck
see
in a
the
time
part-time
loop,
theory.
would you guys be the one just nonchalantly stuck there for 40 years, or would you be the ones who'd be like, I'm getting out?
Oh my god. I feel like I would get way too caught up doing weird shit. Like, I was joking to Alex, I was like, I'd learn how to play, like, the tuba, and, like, go to the wedding and, like, learn sound effects.
Both times we watched this, there have been like dozens of moments of him just like doing something, and you looked at me and you were like, "That's exactly what you would do if you were stuck in the time loop." So
I don't know if I would have got out.
I know.
I'd like to
exactly what
think I
Brandon
would.
do. Brandon would just accept his fate, and he'd be like,
Yep.
"Guess this is my life now."
100%. I would want 100%, and I would start. 1 second. I have to look for a
Fucking
timestamp real
stuck in a
quick.
time loop.
Oh no.
21 minutes and 17 seconds. I would go get every single Pokemon card I could ever get every single day. Then I would go to the casinos and blow all of my money every single day until I hit really big, hoping maybe one day I'll get out of the time loop, knowing where I have to go to hit big. It would just be a whole grand scheme of like capitalism. So when I get out, I'm going to be a billionaire.
Dream, baby.
It'd be so funny because November 9th, you would just be like some random guy, and then November 10th, be like, I'm a millionaire, guys.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Figured it out. I know what to do.
From Brandon, like, guys, it's finally tomorrow. We're like, oh Jesus. I feel like not most of our friends wouldn't even miss a beat. Be like, did you just like Groundhog Day yourself? You'd be like, no, Palm Springs, it's better. I'm a millionaire. Like, all right,
And they'd
cool,
be like,
man.
"Oh,
I can get some more Pokemon streams.
There we go, baby. I think that might have been the longest in the last month that I've waited to bring up Pokemon. I'm very proud of myself.
You did.
I said that I was going to keep a tally every single weekend of how many times he just randomly brings up Pokemon in a day.
You're gonna want to put that book away for next week because it is gonna be the Brandon show.
Yeah, next week is going to be the Pokemon show, of course. We have Pokemon anniversary coming up. I'm super excited. But today's show was a lot of fun. This week was a great time for Valentine's Day. It was a little bit of like Alex brought it up. Madison, I know, talked about it with me. It was a little bit of like everyone kind of getting into it. And I'm glad we did this. This was a lot of fun. We should do something else coming up soon with everyone. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And of course, the
Super
two of you.
fun.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Plus, I got to watch
Anytime.
good movies, so like, hell yeah.
You got The Mummy in Palm Springs. You didn't have to sit through any Doolittles or Revenge of the Sith.
Or Elf.
Elf is delightful. I
Garbage movie,
love
it's okay.
Elf so much.
One of the
So-
worst,
No,
one of
maybe
the
I'll just
worst
subject
movie ever
everyone
made.
to cats.
I watch it even when it's not Christmas.
Pretty great.
I always say son of a nutcracker because my sisters are little, so we can't swear.
You're a very strong person to be able to watch that movie more than once ever again. With that being said, again, thank you both so much for coming on. If you guys ever want to come on for another show, let us know. We can always have more guests on. It's always a lot of fun. But yeah, as we did bring up, this week was Valentine's. Next week we got Pokemon Anniversary and video game show. And then we got the Watchathon. So that's going to be a lot of fun. March, Alex and I are cooking up a couple things. We got some ideas that we have for us. But
I'm excited.
Alex,
Brandon, tell the people where they can find us. Did it first.
So proud of you.
you got me. You got me.
Bottom.
But real nice and easy for everyone. Just find us at thenerdchambers.com. Link in the description, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, whatever podcasting platform you're on. It'll be in the description for thenerdchambers.com. If you want to follow strictly one of our platforms, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, just look up at TNC Movie Nights. You can find all our all our tweets we do for the shows, all the upcoming shows, old past shows. We also can get our merch on our merch shop. This is Commander and You. Got Big Brother Eric, his show. We got Alex up there as well with the Nerd Chambers logo. And if you want to support some of your favorite nerds, we appreciate it. But that's been it for us. Alex, go ahead and if you want to send us home.
I don't know where the points are. So, I'm Alex. She's Sahara. Somewhere in these down. That Brandon. That way.
Yeah.
That's Madison. We did it. I really hope the whole mirror image thing is not going to screw us up because I'm going to
No,
be
you're good.
and you're just going to be like over there.
No,
But
she is on the
either way.
right side. Perfect.
we're all of us. So thanks, guys, and hopefully we'll see both of you soon.
Good job.
And then you guys will see us soon, of course. See ya.